This is Spoiler Country, a podcast about comics, movies, whatever, but mostly comics. Enjoy.
Previously on Spoiler Country.
John's like sneaking downstairs, all as quiet as impossible. All of a sudden, all there is the glow of the TV, and here comes Rainbow Dash.
My pony suit.
You and your pony suit, just like cuddled up with your blanket, eating popcorn, watching My Little Ponies.
How did you know I do that every Friday night? God.
Hey, we were back.
We're back.
Welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric and that's Johnny Horsley. And today on our show, we are talking 24-hour Comics Day.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. And that's going to be exciting because every year, Johnny gets out his pens and papers and his pencils and he starts the grueling 24-hour process. Not the process, the 24-hour marathon of creating comic books.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
So tell us all about it. What's your day going to be like tomorrow?
Okay, so before I go into the day tomorrow, I'll just kind of give some backstory on what I've done before. 24-hour Comics Day started back in 2004, and I always wanted to do it in the early days back when I was doing the old webcomic stuff, but I just never did because it seemed like doing 24 pages in 24 hours is grueling work. But, you know, people like Neil Gaiman have done it. A bunch of professionals have done it over the years just for fun. It's basically just a way to try and push your creative self to come up with some new concept to tell a 24-page story within 24 hours. So it's fun. So what I did 2 years ago, I decided, you know what, screw it. I'm going to do it. So I sat down and I actually did it all in Photoshop because it was just easier that way. I figured I'd have more luck of actually finishing. And in 2016, I did one off my webcomic Jonely Nonly, which is basically a couple of characters that my wife Kaylee drew that I then took into the computer and used Illustrator to make them vector images. And then I used those characters to make comic strips out of. And I made a 24-page story with the Jonely Nonly characters back in 2016, going through and kind of like weaving in and out of all my various webcomics like Sergeant Blinky and Inanimate and Y2CL and just all the craziness there. The 2016 one was, I think it's pretty funny, but it doesn't really tell a story. It's just kind of randomness and randomness. And then last year I did it again. So that was 2015. So 2016, I did it last year again. And I used the same characters, but I actually told a whole 24-page story. So I had the characters, one of the characters went missing and the other characters had to go find him and they go through a series of events trying to find him. So it actually tells a 24-page story. So this year I want to do it again. Actually, I'm going to do it because I've already committed myself mentally to it. I've posted it online that I'm going to be doing it. And I'm probably going to continue with the same characters I used last year and just tell another story. I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do because I don't know. And it's going to be very difficult because it's 24 pages in 24 hours. And tomorrow morning I have to get up and go to my son Jack's soccer game that I'm also the coach at 8:30. That'll take about an hour and a half of my day. Then I come home.
That means you got to double up on some hours.
Yeah, I got to double up on some hours. So that means that I'll come home and then I'll have some hours to work on some stuff. And then Sadie has a cheer game, my 9-year-old, where she is going to go cheer at. And I always go and watch and root her on. So I'll go to that for about 2 hours while she does her cheer stuff. Then I'll come home. I'll have a couple more hours. And then the real hardship comes because tomorrow is our friend Amanda's birthday party and it's at a piano bar. So we're going to be going to a piano bar from like 6 or 7 until like 9 or 10 or later, you know, having some drinks and hearing, I guess, piano music play, apparently. I've never been to a piano bar before. But so I'll have another couple hours. So I have like 3 or 4 things cutting up my day tomorrow, which is going to make it very difficult to finish this in 24 hours, which sucks. But I mean, it's fine. No matter what, I'll finish all 24 pages. So if it takes me all day tomorrow or I don't finish until like Monday, you know, whatever, I'll finish them all. But I'm going to try my best to get as many done tomorrow as I can. But it's going to be very difficult.
So are you allowed to think about the story before you start the timer, or do you? Yeah,
are
you supposed to like start fresh and just go? Because like writing a comic book is not like the simplest thing in the world, right? I mean, you got to plan out.
No,
you got to.
It's hard.
Some kind of storyline going on. So I would imagine a lot of the stories that you get that's done in 24 hours can't be the most tightest, we'll say.
They're not. I mean, there are some good ones out there. You know, I think they still publish a book every year of like the best of the best ones that have come out. If you submit them to the website and all this stuff, like,
oh, this is a website that puts this on.
Yeah. It's 24hourcomicsday.com. And again, all the info is there, but like they put out anthology book, which I have a couple of them from like 2005, 2006, and like I think Neil Gaiman's in one of them. I think Mike Mignola's in one of them. You know, a couple of big creators, plus a lot of like just indie people or just people just wanting to do it and try it. What a lot of people do though is they'll go to events. Like there'll be comic book stores that'll host a 24-hour comics day at their store, where they'll set out tables and people will come, whether it's them you by yourself or you and a buddy or a couple of buddies who are like one person's writing, one person's drawing. So you can kind of, here's a page, go draw. Here's a page, go draw. Kind of go out, go through it. And the stores will host them, and they'll be open from midnight to midnight. So you can just sit there all day long and work on comics. And they'll provide the stores usually provide a way to get food and drinks and stuff to make it easiasier. But
right.
I've never actually done one of those events. I always wanted to. Last year I had planned on doing it at a comic book store this year, to where I went there for the event and like did it that way. It just does not going to work out this year. I don't have the freedom to do that this year because of all this stuff I listed off before.
Because of commitments, family commitments.
Right. I have to work all this like creative stuff around my family commitments.
Just lock them all in the closet for the 24 hours. They'll be fine.
Right. It's just chloroform in the closet. It's fine. It's legal, right? I think. No.
Because you don't want to keep your kids.
Right. I mean, the state can raise them. That's why I pay taxes.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
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 It's just terrible. Just so terrible.
Is there any comic book stores in our area that is promoting this?
Let's look.
Because last year was the first time I ever heard about it when you were talking about it on Facebook.
Oh no, they all over. So there's
maybe the year before that. Whenever
Tacoma Games in Tacoma is that's the closest one to me, which is 25 miles away. Mm-hmm. They're hosting an event. There's a couple places in Seattle. So Push Pull in Seattle's doing it, and then down in Portland, there's a couple in Portland too. And there's one all the way out in Kennewick doing it too.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's like 3 around us, and then some in Portland, and then there's a lot in California, but a lot of people just do it from home too, because they'll just do it at their house and then post them up as they go. What I usually do is I just throw them on my website with hashtags out on Twitter and Instagram as I finish them. Sometimes I'll finish them in an hour, sometimes more, sometimes less, just try and get them through and get them up as fast as I can. So
yeah,
that's what I do. It's hard though, because you think about it, you have roughly an hour per page to think of a concept, finish the concept, get the art done, get the layout done, get the lettering done, and get it posted, and then start the next one. And all while making it some kind of cohesive story for 24 pages. It's
right. It almost feels like process. If you did like wire it out before the 24 hours, and I mean like outline it, even from a writing's perspective, that it almost feel like cheating.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to do that. So I haven't done that yet. I've purposely tried not to think of what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to go into it fresh. I mean, obviously you can't stop yourself from thinking about ideas beforehand, because it just happens sometimes.
Right.
But I've been trying not to focus. I've been focusing on other things today to not worry about that, because I want to go into it fresh. But I honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do for the story, because it's going to be interesting. I was going to have Kaylee help me write it this year, because I would have Kaylee sit down and do it. But
can you do it in teams?
Oh yeah, you can do teams. You can have writer, artist teams, and you can know, what some people do is they'll have a writer write pages, and the artist will start drawing pages. And when the writer gets done writing stuff, and the artist finishes, the artist will hand the page back to the writer, and the writer will then put the word bubbles in. So it's like kind of like teamwork.
Right.
But I never really done that. I just do most things on my own.
Might be a good idea to have a letterer handy then.
Somebody who knows what they're doing with letters. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's amazing how much lettering affects a comic book as far as the quality of the way it is able to be read and looks.
Yeah. It's a big difference. Where the bubbles are placed, the shape of the bubbles, all of it makes a difference.
Yeah, how big the words are. I found one thing I find funny is a lot of, and I'm guilty of it too from when I was new to the field of making any sort of comic strips or comics, but people will make the words bigger and smaller to fit the bubbles in their panel,
right?
Which isn't really how comics work. So right. You think
the font stays the same points throughout the book.
Yeah, unless you're emphasizing something or you're making something smaller because of the whispering, But essentially, it stays the same. So I find it interesting that a lot of people who are just starting out will change the text size to fit the page or the bubble they're working in, and it really affects the ability to actually follow the book, which is fun.
Yeah, it can take you out because it starts messing with your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that was something I didn't learn for a while, because when I first started, I was young, didn't know what I was doing, and eventually I was like, oh, this all looks like shit. So I actually went back. I've actually gone back like the first 100 strips of my White to Seal comic.
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 times, and like redone all the lettering, redone all the bubbles, and made yeah. I did.
Yeah, well, you're kind of a weirdo like that too, because you do that with your old podcast too. Well, it's not old, but you do that with your other podcasters. Say Y2CL Radio. If you guys haven't had a chance, take a listen to it. It's pretty fun. But it's funny because you'll re-upload previous episodes with you doing like a commentary track,
Right.
which cracks me up.
Well, it's not that I'm taking recent episodes. I take old episodes from back when we did it back
That's
in
what I'm saying.
2009.
Yeah, you take. Did I say recent? I meant older episodes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do that because like all those old episodes aren't in the current stream. So if you look at the radio, at the like on the iTunes or on the website or on SoundCloud, all those old episodes, none of them are up there because it's all just the newer stuff. So I do that one so people can listen to the old episode, but I also want to edit them to update. It's like, well, this is kind of shitty. So here's kind of explaining some stuff, and or I was such a dumbass back then, or such a douchebag. So here's why, and it just I figure if I'm going to re-upload it, I should add something to it.
Douchebaggery.
Right, because I figure if I'm gonna re-upload it, I should add something new to it for people who've heard it before. They get something new out of it.
Right. It's kind of funny. I always crack it up.
No, it's funny.
Because are you renumbering them though as new episodes, or are you keeping the original numbering?
No, they get
Legacy.
New numbers because Legacy. God, no,
what are they the new 52 or what's up with you, man?
No, they're Heroes Reborn. Then they're gonna be Legacy, and then I don't know, whatever. But no, since I'm re-editing them and adding stuff to them, and the numbering of the current episode, the current series started with the 6-year catch-up episode I did. We did like a couple years ago. I just put them into that numbering, and then just ignore the old. I just ignore all the old numbering, because it'd be too complicated otherwise.
Speaking of podcasts, we got some exciting stuff going on later this month.
Yeah, we do.
We're going to be on the podcast On the Edge with Mike Peacock. We're going to record later this month.
It's Peacock, cock. It's Peacock, cock.
That's right. And we're going to record later this month. We're going to record later this month. I said munch, I think.
Right, you did.
We're going to record later this month, and depending on how I don't know how long Mike takes to edit, or if he even edits. I have no idea. I mean, I've listened to his show, and it sounds like he does edit. So, I'm pretty sure he does. He started around the same time we did, but we have like 80 times more episodes than he does.
Well, we're a bit insane.
We're a little bit insane, but this is really cool. So we're going to go to his studio and we're going to record a podcast there with him. And then we're going to turn around and record our podcast with him. So it'll be a 2-part podcast on 2 separate shows.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So it's
a crossover. We're doing a crossover.
Yeah. You get part 1 on his show and part 2 on our show.
Or maybe you'll get part 1 on our show and you get part 2 on his show. We haven't really discussed that.
We haven't figured it out yet, but you'll get, either way, there'll be 2 shows.
It was Mike's idea, so it'll probably be part 1 of his show.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fun because
if it goes by any way of our Facebook instant messages with the 3 of us talking, the 2 of you talking, then it'll be a crazy fun episode, and I'm
it'll be
really
very
excited.
Inappropriate.
Me and Mike have known each other since junior high. We're really close actually for a long time. We hung out a lot, and he's an amazing musician. He did a lot of guitar work, and he's had quite a few different bands. I don't know all the bands he's had. I just don't know them. We lost track after high school, like people do. Through the magic of Facebook, a couple years ago, we got back connected together, which is great. And so this will be the first time that I've seen Mike in probably 20 years, dude, maybe even more.
Damn.
So this is going to be exciting for me because we were really close. So this is going to be cool because it'll be like connecting with one of my oldest friends and then get to see him. And then just by chance that he's a fellow podcaster as well. And he's really funny and he's got a really good attitude. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be a lot of fun. And we should, you and I both play guitar and stuff too. We should see if we can record a little ditty with him just for fun.
Yeah. my
put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. I mean, okay. So at one point I got to the point where I could play and sing about 60 songs.
Yeah.
Right. And a couple of them were my own and all that kind of fun stuff. But I don't know, when I try to play with other people, I like the timing always messes me up. And at the very beginning, I never like powered through getting to the point where I could play with a drummer and a bassist and get that level. You know what I mean? Either I speed up or I slow down or I don't get, you know what I mean? Because I try to make everything work for me. And then, so I've kind of reserved myself that at some point I was like, okay, I'm never going to play in a band because I just didn't have that drive to do that. I didn't want to sit there and do all the practice and do all that stuff. That wasn't fun for me. I just wanted to play. It's so much
work, man.
Yeah.
It's so much work.
I just wanted to be able to play some songs on the guitar and and kind of learn what I wanted to learn. And I did that and I was happy with it. Then I haven't played in like 10 years. And once you stop playing for a long time, you don't forget everything, but you're not as crisp and you're not as clean as you used to be. And you start to get really sloppy and it doesn't sound as good and all that fun stuff. So if the three of us played, I would probably not sound very good. And then, and Mike, I think is really good, And then,
so Mike and I will play.
Yeah, and our friend Steve, I don't know if if you saw this in the paper, but our friend was at the concert when Loverboy was playing up in Everett, and the lead singer of Loverboy, this is just last week, the lead singer of Loverboy was really sick. He has the flu. Yeah. And he played like 2 songs and said, I can't do this, guys. I'm so sorry. I can't continue. And like somebody else came out, like the backup singer came out or something and said, hey, do we have anybody here that knows all the Loverboy songs? And this guy in the audience goes, Steve does right here. And Steve is another friend that I've known since junior high. And Mike knows Steve very well too. His name is Steve Fournier. And Steve is one of those like musical savants. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, right? He plays the drums. He's like the best drummer I've ever heard in my life. And when he wanted to start playing guitar, it took him like a week and he was already doing circles around me and Mike. And then he can sing and he can do everything, right? And I mean, dude, when you're 15 years old and you're drumming and singing at the same time, that's actually a really difficult thing to do.
Drumming and singing is incredible. I'm a drummer too. Drumming and singing together is incredibly hard.
Yeah, and Steve does it like it doesn't even phase him, right? It's nothing. And they're pointing at Steve. Steve got up on stage with Loverboy and did their complete set as the lead singer.
That is awesome. That's incredibly cool.
It was in the Everett Tribune and everything, dude. I think it was on Channel 13 a couple days ago talking about it and the whole thing. So we'll have to ask Mike if he saw that because that was kind of funny.
That'd be awesome. That's cool. I mean, you always hear about people like, oh, the band's playing, they pull from the audience up on stage to play like Green Day. Green Day does that all the time, which is really cool. Yeah. And I play guitar, bass, and drums, and I don't really sing, but I play the 3, and I've been playing them for a long time. But I'm such an introvert that if for some reason it came down, oh, he can play the songs here, pointing to me, I'd be like, no, I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, nope. even though I've played on stage before with my own bands, even though I've recorded and played tons of shows, I'd still be like, no, I don't want to go fuck this up.
No, Steve is like a showmanship. He got up on there, he's trying to get the crowd into it, doing the whole thing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, you had people on both spectrums mad because because the official Loverboy people didn't finish the set, and then but the other people were like, oh my god, that was so cool because Steve sounds great. So it's whatever.
That'd be a cool show to be at because it's like, it's something different. You got something different from a show that people normally don't get at a show.
Right. And it was the band playing all the music.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool. So anyways, we're going to be on the edge with Mike Peacock. So that's going to be a lot.
Peacock.
Yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that.
I hope he's ready for me to make lots of Peacock jokes because I'm going to.
I'm sure he's been used to that forever. Dude, I have a funny story. You know what? I'm going to save this story. I got a story about me and Mike, and I'm going to save it for the podcast because
save it there.
Yeah, I think it's more fun that way.
So I want to talk about one more thing real quick because this is going to be a short episode because we're just getting it out for tomorrow. But another thing that's going on right now that I'm actually behind on by a couple of days is Inktober, which is to get a theme, and it's a prompt per day like divide or rock or just words that give you an action word or a noun that gives you an idea of try to give you an idea of something to draw. And the idea is that you do an ink drawing every day of the month to better yourself as an artist or better yourself with your ink skills. I did it last year, and that was kind of when I started doing like the Hodor and Brand drawing, the Iron Giant, the Rock Biter from Neverending Story, all these illustrations. I started doing all these illustrations on the toned paper. Yeah. So I decided I'm going to do it again this year. But unfortunately, I have only done one so far.
It's tough. You're supposed to do one a day?
One a day, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're way behind.
So, I mean, I do them. they're so I don't do just a regular ink drawing. I do a full on illustration, with coloring and highlights and lowlights, and I like to make them look good. Like last year, I started off by doing just simple ink drawing with some shadows, but then as it by day 4 or 5, I was doing full page, illustrations with full coloring and everything.
Yeah.
And I was able to do it almost every day last year. I only missed a couple of days last year, but I did an ink drawing and a full illustration because at the time I was commuting 2.5 hours to and from work every day. So I had an hour and a half of that commute I could sit and draw.
Oh, yeah.
So I had 3 hours of dedicated time with nothing else going on that I could sit and draw. And now I don't have that because right now I'm working from home, or when I do go to work, it's only, it's all on a trainer walking. So I have no time to draw on a trainer while I'm walking. And I have to do it at home at night, which instead of doing that, I'm either working on something that's going to, a paid gig or podcasting or hanging out with my family, stuff like that. So I don't have the time this year. So I might hold back on doing the full illustrations and just do some quick ink drawings to kind of do it this month. But I did one. The one I did was Divide, which I did a Two-Face illustration, which I'll put in the show notes for this.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I think it came out pretty cool. I did Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face from the Dark Knight movie because I just wanted to draw that gruesome face because it looks so cool.
Yeah.
But I love Inktober, and it's hard to do with everything else going on right now.
All right. Well, hey, I think that kind of puts us to a close. Good luck on 24-Hour Comics Day.
Thank you.
And
I'll need it.
I'm sure you'll get through something. Maybe you'll get a 22-hour Comics Day. I don't know.
I'll finish all 24 pages by some point, but I'll do them all by Monday or Tuesday if I don't finish them all tomorrow. Because let's be honest, I'm not going to have time to do all 24 tomorrow unless for some reason I can just power through a bunch.
That's right. All right. Don't forget, we are on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on TuneIn. We're on Stitcher. We're on Google Play. We're on iTunes. If you listen to us on iTunes, please, 5 stars.
5 stars every time.
Don't be fucking around with those 4 stars, man. We need that 5th star.
We do that 5th star. If you want anything less than 5 stars, you email us. We'll make it 5 stars. I promise you.
Yeah.
We'll find a way.
Johnny's got his knee pads ready, so.
I do. Knee pads ready, and Kenric's got his ready too, so we'll be down.
No, mine worn through. I can't use them anymore.
You gotta order some new ones, right?
All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Peace.